Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on just some DC movie stuff. So this only came out like 15 minutes ago, and I thought, well, I can't really, I won't leave it for a few days. I'll just talk about it now and just give my initial thoughts on it because it's a pretty big casting, and that's the casting of Lex Luthor for, no TV show or any sort of like random animated movie, but for Superman Legacy, which has been this, who are they going to cast? Because like there's been, especially in the movie side, different interpretations and stuff like that, and we weren't too sure exactly what James Gunn was going to go for. Now, it's actually been revealed that Nicholas Hoult is going to be playing Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy, or at least it's being exclusively reported through Deadline, but they're not going to chuck this out there without any sort of like proper facts, and I'm sure by the time maybe this video goes out, or maybe within a day or two, James Gunn will confirm that casting. If not, he's maybe already confirmed it as I'm recording this video. But Nicholas Hoult being cast as Lex Luthor, I was going to say Superman, but being cast as Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy is almost like that thing of like, never give up. Never give up, keep going. What's that stupid, like, what that Fortnite meme, whatever it is. Because he went, he was of course Beast in X-Men, but that's not the main character, everything like that. But he, auditioned to be Batman and was in that last little stage to be Batman for the Matt Reeves one, which of course Robert Pattinson ended up getting. And then he actually was in the casting thing in like the final handful of selected people for this version of Superman, which of course David Corenswet ended up getting. So it's like one of those things of like, oh, finally I've got something. And there's probably some other things that he auditioned for as well that got really close to, like, God, he might have even gone for Spider-Man or something, who knows. But, he's eventually got it through this one. Now, he's not a hero, he's a villain, but this is something that you'd expect to be pretty recurring through what James Gunn is planning with this universe, whether it is over just Superman-related things or even some of the stuff on the TV side of things with certain projects there, because, the door's always open. Lex Luthor doesn't just mess with Superman, he can mess with other heroes as well. Now, this does just come out a few days after the casting for the engineer, who's going to be played by Maria Gabriella De Faria, I think, or De Faria, whichever way you want to put it. But of course, that's a minor role in this film, while Lex Luthor is this, much bigger role. Now, in regards to his look and everything like that, of course, I saw some I know it's not people being serious, but just some silly things like, how did he get cast? He's not even bald. So, of course, you'd assume he's going to be shaving his head for this role. And the thing is, when you look at this picture, this is the picture that, like, Deadline, I guess, used for their like article top thing. You look at him and you go, if you imagine him bald, get the hair off, clean shaven, he sort of looks exactly like that. Obviously a bit younger, so that's the thing. They're going for, I guess, maybe a Lex just start, or maybe not just starting off, but like, he's not that prime Lex maybe, and we're meant to see him build into that. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the take on Lex Luthor as a whole within this universe, but also specifically Superman Legacy is going to be, because you can go at it a bit, different ways. Is this like maniacal guy, or is he leading into, is he just like this, sort of stuck up, self-absorbed person, So it's interesting which angle they're going to go with. I think that obviously it's going to be, I think they're going to lead into it. They're not going to give you prime Lex Luthor from the get-go, but he's also going to be Lex Luthor. He's not going to be this like weird shell of a character that it's just called Lex, and he's meant to like grow into that as we go forward. I think you're still going to get Lex. It's just not prime Lex, because you're obviously not going to get your prime Superman as well in this film also. So it's about building into that. Now, of course, we know the film starts filming early next year. So the Deadline article says they just sort of wanted to get the casting done and out there and announced and everything, because it's just harder to hide all this stuff. Now, the fact that they've cast Lex Luthor now makes you think that they'll probably cast the rest of those authority characters, or at least announce them fairly soon. But, there's this whole debate whether, because it's the end of the year and usually you get nothing, but because of the strike ending, that they might just get it over and done with. So there's not this avalanche at the beginning of next year, which maybe takes over from some of the other pre-production stuff that's happening for the film. And just things are going to get out there the longer you keep them hidden. So you're better off just getting them out there. Now, we aren't exactly sure in regards to like the specific audition process around this, because as I said, he auditioned for Superman, but then also he ended up being in that final group of Lex Luthor possibilities that was reported, which included obviously himself, but also the two Skarsgård brothers of Bill and Alexander. They were also up there as well. I think Alexander Skarsgård would have been an interesting one. Obviously that's a what if now, but with this whole thing and, people wondering if he's going to work, he was bald in Mad Max Fury Road. Obviously he had like weird lips and everything going on as well, but I think he's actually going to be pretty good in this. I think like he's a really good actor, Nicholas Hoult, and, this is just something, Lex Luthor, obviously, he himself is like a bit of a, has a bit of a thing for theatrics and a bit of gravitas around him as well. So obviously I don't think James Gunn would have cast him if there wasn't that appeal there, whether it was through the initial Superman audition, but also through just what was done, seeking Lex Luthor. And it's sort of fitting that someone that auditioned for Superman would end up getting cast as Lex Luthor as well, just because of the dynamic between the two and what Lex is sort of like jealous about. So I think that would be very interesting to see how that plays off in the film as well, just because of, what that means in the actual source material and how it can be portrayed on screen also. And the last thing to really bring up when we talk about, like, not specifically Nicholas Hoult and what he's going to do, because I'm sure he's going to do a good job, but it's more just this interpretation of Superman, is that there was that thing that went viral, like, I think it was more than a few months ago, I think. I don't know, time flies this year. But anyway, it was a bit ago. It was about maybe like 3-4 months ago, whatever it was. But it was James Gunn on the Michael Rosenbaum podcast when he was talking about Lex Luthor and how, like, it was, some things were taken out of like context, or they were clipped incorrectly. Like, they included a 15-second clip when it was really like a minute clip that should have been included. But a lot of people now, based off what he said about Lex Luthor, and it hasn't necessarily been nailed that well, at least on the movie landscape, is there pressure there now with what he's planning here? And once again, I think it depends on what the take on not Superman, I guess Superman, but mainly like what the take of Lex Luthor is in this film. Like, what version is he meant to be? What's his, current logistical stuff in the context of where he is at that point? So that's the thing that you sort of have to look out for when it comes to this. But I think people are going to hold this on not put it on a pedestal, but hold it, to see what it's like. And they're going to hold like high expectations around it because of that stuff that went around earlier in the year. But I think it's going to be good. Like, as I said, we're still at this point, like, at least 4.5 months roughly away from filming or whatever it's going to be. So, I'm sure there'll be some photos of like him with the bald head potentially, if that's what they're going to do, and some other things like that. But yeah, I think it's a good casting, and I'm just interested to see which way they go with it, as well as just how it's going to fold in the rest of the film. As I said before, with that engineer casting thing, it hasn't been confirmed, but it just feels like the way they're going to do it is like Lex is attached to the authority, and they're like either working for him or he's like, funding them or whatever it might be, and that's how they fold into stuff. And then that plays into the whole Superman story aspect of it as well, whether it is Superman versus the authority, or it's more the authority giving like superheroes a bad name, and Superman then gives it a good name, and obviously Lex is behind the bad side of things. So that's how it feels like it's going to play out. But once again, it's not like the whole story is going to leak or anything like that. We can just base it off like what characters are showing up, especially when you include those other like heroes of like Metamorpho, Green Lantern, etc. So we'll wait and see how it goes off. But I think this is a good start. Every casting's been pretty solid outside of maybe Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern. That's the only one I raise my eyebrow and go, I don't think that's going to work. But at least in regards to being Guy Gardner, that's the one. So every casting's been pretty solid. So there's nothing that really makes you a bit dodgy about it. At least in regards to like a major way. So yeah, looking forward to it from what I've seen so far. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below. Do you like this casting? Are you imagining him with the bald head? Do you think he fits it? Do you think what do you think, like, what version of not Superman, but Lex Luthor they're going to go with? Whether it is prime Lex Luthor, or it's more like leading into that version that you like would classically see. Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. And goodbye.